Greetings from the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you spend a pleasant day with your loved ones. We will hear a fascinating story in today's lecture. Ms. Hui Xian is the author of the story. I hope you find some time to unwind after reading the story. Remember to support the channel by liking, commenting, and subscribing to it. Let's examine this story's primary theme now. A young man from a low-income hometown named Kwong has entered the lives of the elderly women of Hui Xian amidst the busy and constantly changing big city. Women still harbor secrets, greed, and conceit that have never been exposed despite having experienced some of their youth. From an innocent boy, Kwong has gradually transformed into the person that women want to please. Among them, Ms. Noyet felt a strong desire. She has given Kwong access to a world of creativity and inspiration by showcasing her wealth and attractive face in middle age. In the midst of the city's bright lights, Kwong faced tough decisions in addition to learning new things about himself. Every step of Kwong's journey into a relationship with a powerful woman is an opportunity to learn how to win women's hearts. In addition to helping Kwong advance in life, the enigmatic and strong Ms. Noyet and the other women in his youth taught him the importance of freedom, love, and bravery. Together, let's examine this tale, as it gradually reveals the intricate relationships between Kwong and the ladies of Hui Xian as well as its profound details. For 3-year-old Ms. Hui Xian, every moment is an emotional journey with secrets that are just waiting to be discovered. She seems to want to cry as she looks at her estranged mother. She must therefore be separated from her mother. Her family is too impoverished. In the center of a swarming area is the river. She is only aware of bamboo throughout the year. Additionally, there is only enough rice plant to eat. Her younger brother, who is 4 years old, is behind her. Everything is continuously produced by her parents. The people will be in it, and they take care of their parents' health. A boy is now 15 years old. He will remain a weak man in the city. Additionally, nature is friendly in rural areas like his home. I've taught him how to be a decent boy. His shoulder has started to crack behind him. In the morning, the corn has started to sprout. Under the grass's hair, the corn and the dark water are on fire. In order to make a living each day, he now has to work for his parents. He is the primary one, not the woman, it is true. He will live on with his father in the future. After that, he will keep raising buffaloes in the field. He simply came home that day if there was no Saturday. He heard his parents laughing as he was mowing the lawn outside the house. "Oh, will you play today, Mrs. Hong?" "Yes, I will visit the uncles after attending Thap Hung Church." The visit from the city's aunts, uncles, and siblings is too precious. "Where will you welcome Mrs. Noyet?" The brothers and sisters immediately recognize that sign. Of course, Mrs. Noyet is greeted by everyone. He is only supporting his sister because he is expecting a baby who will be a newly grown boy. It is accurate to say that she lives in a different city. She has completely different faces and a completely different personality. In contrast to the green and red wigs he still sees when the girl is in the village, he finds her adorable due to the wrinkles he sees every day and the black high heels she wears. He looks at her and gets up right away until he shakes because of his father. She wasn't asked to go by the other guy. After shaking himself, he discovered that she was serving the cake to the kids. In the hometown, this cake forces his children to marry each other, but in the city, the kids don't crave it. It was the same before that, but that age is now past. Perhaps there are more new things in it, taller, but a new boy like him can't understand it all, but he also begs her to brush his hair. He's been so big lately, helping his parents with the work. What class is he in this year, and when he grows up, he can't do anything. His father has a long breath, and it's true that he doesn't have to go to school. He likes to go to work, and he doesn't have to be busy all day. Because he didn't do his homework. Mrs. Noyet looked at him, as if her eyes were on him. She then told her parents, "Why let him stop school? You're poor, you work all day for the world, so you know how to do it. It's a blessing to be able to raise him. Sometimes people call him to do this, or hire him, Since he's 30, this is it. You give him a job, let him come to your house, feed him, and let him attend school at night. I send you $2 million a month, can you do it?" Oh my God, what remains of her now that she has made a change in her life? The story goes on and on. She knows her father, so don't oppose it if it's decided, and her father's jokes still make her use it, but she is also excited to leave this bad life and move to a new place. The adult story is becoming increasingly absurd, with a scene that blinds her parents, her being drawn to Mrs. Noyet, staying with her, being chosen to study at Bodok, finishing high school, and then being allowed to go to work later to make a living. However, the city is also dull in comparison to working in the country, getting married, having a child, and then becoming a city dweller. Only her parents are still wandering, but they don't dare to say, Mrs. Noyet once had a life without a child. At the age of 30, her parents left for a long time. She was born and grew up in the city, then graduated abroad, then her parents passed away, leaving her business to her. From that day on, she replaced her parents to live with her parents, sometimes in a small village, as if it were the happiness of her ancestors. Her life up there, no one knows, only she and her husband broke up a few years ago. Now she is at her house, following her mother's footsteps, returning to her familiar village, leaving it in the middle of another world. It is only in the arms of her parents, so try to listen to her. Don't listen to her, let her kick you out, don't blame me. Her city life officially began. Mrs. Noyet quickly arranged for her a place to eat, a place in her house. Her house is a spacious mansion, in a quiet area, with a well-kept garden. The main house is where Mrs. Noyet lives. It is arranged into a basement for help. In addition there will be 2 more brothers, Mr. Dung and Mr. Fong, with a nanny named Tao. Mrs. Noyet gave it to Mrs. Tao. Before stepping into work, Tao was about to arrange a place for Kwong Na. Remember to fill in the form, just come home, don't know anything, just tell that brother. Slowly, it feels warmer because of her gentle care, so it feels less confused. In the middle of this garden, it is arranged in the same room with Mr. Dung and Mr. Fong, a small but very beautiful room, with a full bathroom and a toilet inside, next to the kitchen and dining room for the helper. Mrs. Tao is on the main house, not in the area for the helper. She is eager to start building life in the city. Right, for her this is really heaven. Even 2 brothers help. Every brother is strong and healthy, but not as messy as it, and everything is white, clean. Even her sleeping bed is also a neat bed, with full of beautiful plants. Sit up and see where it is quiet, like her cozy wooden bed in the countryside, lying with a few more kids. Dung guides Kwong to pick up his stuff. Then let him go for a bath. Go for a bath. Remember to tell him a few things with the new people. At this time it is new. Kwong Noyet spends the money to raise it to eat and study in the city. Where to let it sit and play? What does it have to do? Rice, water, firewood. It can do it. The city does not know what to do. The city people certainly do not eat food, the countryside that it cooks. Then the buffalo is no longer for it to do. It strongly asks Mrs. Tao, what do you have to do here? Little by little, just get used to it, then I will arrange the work for you. If you have anything, I will guide you. Then she smiled and went home. Why are city women so lovely? Everyone is beautiful, elegant, graceful, or funny, different from the loud voice that it often has to hear at home of other mothers. Whatever it is also a little scared when you 2 just silently look at it slowly. It is shy. In its hometown, it is often bullied. It smiles and asks, yes, I just got up, what did you 2 tell me to do? Fong and Dung look at each other and say, you go to the bathroom and help us with the housework. Yes. It looks around and starts to shout, your house is too rich, but the city women here must be very happy. Come on, go to the bathroom quickly, it's almost time for her meal. You have to clean the rice for her to eat, but you ask a little. The best thing here is that you don't ask anything, whatever she says. What's so secretive? Just ask a little bit, but it's mysterious. But I don't dare to ask. It quickly goes to the bathroom for people. The city bathroom is recognized as beautiful. The white linen is fragrant. It has already bathed. Quickly go to the kitchen to help the 2 brothers. Just come in. It just shakes. The 2 brothers have to be careful. I have to be like that too. I think so. I should try to take care of my own business. Sometimes I just go down to check. The next day, he came back to eat. A few days later, he noticed Ina walking by. She was cleaning the house for the 2 of them in the morning. Cleaning was something she was doing slowly. After cleaning the kitchen, Ketsin arrived. She handled the simple tasks, she was brought to a boarding school close to her home in the evening. Life continued as usual. It had not finished cooking. Ketsun was the most bored of the 8 of them. She didn't, however, decline. She only needed to acknowledge that she was sluggish in bed, white-skinned, and overweight. The women who moved into this house, however, were the most miserable thing. The mothers of the women in her hometown were depressed. But her curiosity was piqued by her advanced age. All you can hear is the sound of running water whenever your neighbors take a bath. But why are women so attractive in this context? They always add a little something. Whether it's the curls, the water from the hair dryer, or their attire. The shoes are lovely, the nails are well groomed, and the coloring is done with care, gorgeous from the high heels to the footsteps. And each time she heard it, it was as if extremely challenging emotions were being poured into her heart. You must do more laundry for her from now on. Remember to wash your hands when you're with this sister. Yes, I am aware of that. Washing her hands is still very important to my sister. Being tidy is a good thing. She brought the 2 women's clothing. Her heart began to burn on the washing machine side because she lived near 2 stunning women. Like a storm, the feelings of fear were building. She gazed down at the heap of clothing at the end of her eyes, but her heart was truly depressed. She carefully placed the clothing in her pocket because she loved it so much. She was blinded by the clothing. Every day she was in her hands. Why does it feel so soft? Once more, the scent of fragrant flowers filled the air from the old clothing. She thought nonsense and collapsed into the room, unable to hold her breath. Tao kept getting summoned to Noyette's maid's home. Unusual cars were present. Noyette and other precious women were inside. Noyette was exhausted when she walked into the room, but she had no idea what to do. All she did was go to bed. Her brothers all followed suit. Everything was so unclear and enigmatic. Kwong witnessed numerous police officers breaking into Noyette's home up until the 12th grade and making numerous arrests of women and young men. I didn't understand anything, Kwong added. The police knew that Noyette was picking him up from his hometown to school and spoke with him for a few sentences. In actuality, he wasn't old enough. He was in the 12th grade. Noyette's house was seized because, at the time, Kwong only knew that Noyette had plotted to conduct illicit business. Kwong had no idea where to go after that day. There was nowhere for him to stay. Kwong made the decision to leave school the following day. Inexplicable. He was disliked by everyone. He glanced back, but he was too scared to move. The police officers, surrounded by throngs of people, stormed around Kwong, wandered the road, bought a loaf of bread, and then proceeded to a sidewalk tea shop. After eating a loaf of bread, he began to find his way home. He ate the new dish and took in his surroundings. It was a peculiar scene. Skyscrapers could be seen everywhere, then there were crowded cafes and supermarkets. By chance, he glanced past the large eatery. There was a small notice for hiring staff on the other side. He was grinning because he had previously served Mr. Fong and Mr. Deng. Therefore, he might be best suited to work in a restaurant. After that, he had a cup of iced tea and then fell asleep. After getting dressed, he strolled towards the eatery. There were still no patrons because the new restaurant had opened. Kwong approached the employees who were washing the windows slowly. Is our restaurant hiring? She inquired. You came to request that position? Indeed. The owner is still not here. Are you able to go somewhere? Then return at approximately 8 or 9 o'clock, thank you, indeed. Kwong went to the iced tea shop after hearing that. To be honest, he had no idea where to go. He simply waited for the restaurant to begin taking patrons by sitting on the other side of the room. After waiting for approximately an hour, the opulent vehicle descended to the parking lot. He once went for a walk with a middle-aged woman. The young man entered the eatery. Through the window, the employees welcomed him. Kwong observed the 2 of them ascending to the 2nd floor rather than seated at the table placing their food orders. He believed that to be the restaurant's owner. The iced tea shop asked him. Additionally, he was aware that it was past 8 o'clock. He rushed to the eatery. This time, the employees directed him to the owner's office on the second floor, which is the final room in the hallway. Kwong approached the room at the end of the hallway after making his way slowly up to the second floor. The door was knocked on. On the opposite side of the hallway was him. "Come in and open the door," he said. He noticed a woman sitting in a wheelchair and opened the door. The young man was working while seated at the desk. As he descended, he noticed a woman's shirt on top of another that was staring at Kwong, who was staring at him from the door. He was shocked by that. "Is this the restaurant's owner?" he inquired. "I'm present." "How did you arrive here?" "The staff directed me to this location. I would like to apply for a job." "So take a seat." The student was seated on the chair across from Kwong, who approached it slowly. His wife was seated on the chair across from him. "Where are you from, my son?" he asked. "My son resides in Fuzhou, a small town populated by girls." "What is your age?" "I'm 18. Why do you still arrive at work in this manner even though you don't attend school?" "Yes, it's simply the circumstances. I can do it, so don't worry." The owner has been looking at you intently. You appear to be a big boy, even though you are only 18. Which job would you like to apply for now? You still don't know where the security guard and head chef are in the car. This security officer has just requested a day off. I admit that I have no cooking skills. Can I then ask to speak with the car's security guard? In order for the manager, Mr. Vin, to introduce you to the position, go downstairs and meet him. Ask him anything you don't understand or if you have any questions. Yes, many thanks for that. So, will you be attending work? I am able to work today, yes. However, may I ask you a question? What is it? Is there lodging available here? Since I haven't been able to find lodging. No family members present? Yes, I did forget to let you know, for those who must remain, there is a location. That empty room, right on the second floor. A space directly adjacent to my workspace. Simply arrange it there if you have anything. Many thanks. Consequently, you go down and land the job. Hi, ma'am. Hi, my brother. All day long, the man on the other side of the room sat silently, tapping the phone. He hangs up the phone after you wait for Kwong to emerge. He then brags to the woman. Is Noyet already fond of him? What are you discussing? According to Noyet, he likes him. He came to ask for that job, didn't you hear? Tung saw that Noyet continued to stare at him. Perhaps because he is younger and more attractive than Tung. Hurry up, Tung. Despite his good looks, how is he able to match Tung's skill? Noyet will take Tung to purchase a home, which worries me. Tung let it go this time. Outside of Tung, Noyet also observed AI. Is Tung upset about AI? AI only loves Tung and is envious of Noyet. He is also aware that the man's name is Tung, of course. Noyet, the restaurant's 3 proprietors, as a couple, this year, she turns just 40. Her spouse and 2 daughters make up her family. They are both her children, currently residing overseas. The director of a major transportation company was her husband's former position. He owns an opulent home, with $100 billion worth of real estate and multiple apartments. He hasn't liked what we do, though. He eventually got into a car accident. His kids came to see him when he traveled overseas. After that, they saw him go. He bequeathed his entire estate to Mrs. Noyet, his wife. Vin Phuc is where Mrs. Noyet is from. She is employed by his business. Being the director was a blessing for her. Her spouse abandoned her. Her husband lost her due to her attractive appearance. I was unable to run the transportation business. My spouse abandoned it. I decided to sell it and use the proceeds to start a restaurant. Currently, Mrs. Noyet does not spend all of her money working in the eatery. As simple as that. She assigns all of the work to the restaurant employees. She doesn't really care. Because she enjoyed opening it. She pays a very high salary to the restaurant, to a car guard such as Kwong. Paid 10 million VND a month as well. She is a gregarious individual, she is not overly frugal despite being the owner. Thus, she is also liked by the staff here. She works at just one job. Young men are frequently the company of Mrs. Noyet. Everyone feels uneasy about it. But whatever, Noyet is wealthy as well. She is therefore free to do as she pleases. She is too scared to be arrogant, she is even wealthier now that she is 40. She lost her husband as well. As a result, Mrs. Noyet's beauty keeps growing, despite her advanced age. However, she has a very young fashion sense. She behaves like a dress all the time. However, she wears 12 dresses at the age of 18. Mrs. Noyet is repeatedly referred to as a prostitute by the staff. However, it's also true that she dresses that way. Her long, white legs are displayed by her short dresses. She leaves the restaurant every day so that her grandchildren can remain in the country. Oversee the farm, she also occasionally shops. Join young people for dinner. She only eats in the air, though, thus, there is also a greater psychological need. In contrast to other females. She also has very high standards when it comes to selecting a partner. He must be an attractive old man. It has to be 20-30. The individual has to be quite tall, greater than 1.7 meters. In particular, life needs to be well structured. She can then be a suitable lover. It's very easy to pair up with Mrs. Noyet. However, she gets bored with it sometimes. It's also not tranquil. The men beside her, however, can purchase the items they enjoy. Even expensive items like phones, automobiles and high-end products. They can all be given by Mrs. Noyet. All they have to do is get her comfortable. However, she betrays or defies her will. She will then retract everything. He might even be made by it, unable to raise his head. But from now on, no one has the courage to defy her wishes. Mrs. Noyet loves only certain people. Simply walk away if you're bored. Tung is the man's name. Perhaps the person who has spent the most time with Noyet thus far. Like a young man, usually, only a few months next to her. 6 months is the longest. Tung is the only one who has been with her for over a year. In addition, his mouth is sweet. I only need a few words from him. Mrs. Noyet will be very pleased, from the very first office meeting. Additionally, Kwong had a faint resemblance to Mrs. Noyet. Her face is gentle, even so, she is 40 years old. Her skin, however, is smooth, glossy, and white. Not a single wrinkle, her body is flawless. The youthful fashion of youth. Therefore, attracting others is simple. The conversations with Mrs. Noyet. Kwong's final exhale. Avoid staring directly into her eyes. In addition, she is extremely attractive. Kwong was finally hired to work here. The location where you can learn about a woman's preferences. Be aware of the intense desire of a lovely lady. Despite this, the response is insufficient. You had a very difficult first day of work. Since you're not accustomed to it, you ruined everything. Then, from getting the client's vehicle to delivering the vehicle to the client, you made a complete mistake. The manager reprimanded you in that manner throughout the day. Thankfully, you're in good health. Therefore, it is not an issue to do it incorrectly again. The face is adorable once more. Thus, the restaurant employees. The direction is very enthusiastic. It's also easy work. Customers arrive and depart rapidly. It's pretty normal in general. Kwong's body is the only one that is abnormal. You have a very odd feeling, you think. Whenever you encounter Mrs. Noyet, you have a gorgeous face. And lose all composure. When Mrs. Noyet approached you to inquire, the beauty was too much for you to handle. On her face. It's not just Kwong, actually, the employees. As this restaurant's son. This restaurant attracts customers. I want to work every time I see the owner. I'm at my breaking point. That's because the owner doesn't often visit the restaurant. To be honest, this is where she usually sits. It will undoubtedly be the busiest eatery. Working there is exciting in a new way. Kwong has now been engaged in this activity for a month. You now have the work. It's simpler now than it was, you adapted to the work. But is still unable to escape it. While speaking with Mrs. Noyet, you appear to have a lovely dream about her. Old ladies don't understand why. You have that kind of attraction. I'm not sure if that's the case with others. Now, Mrs. Noyet is your only companion. There's just one idea: how are you able to break her heart? Even so, you are aware that Tongue is at your side. Her youthful affection. The employees of Mrs. Noyet's eatery continue disparaging her. Tongue is to blame. Because he's a young man with good looks. Refusing to create a mess. But are only capable of holding her dress. To take pleasure in, on that point, everyone is in agreement. Kwong is the only one, though. Return to the crowd. 3 times, you had an idea. If you were Tongue. Mrs. Noyet noticed and brought it up, then you'll agree as well. Regardless of what AI tells Kwong. All you have to do now is get wealthy. The poor scene has bored you too much. How long have you lived in the country? You still hope Mrs. Noyet will notice you, although it sounds bizarre, it's incredibly realistic. AI in humans is the same. Once wealthy, cover the suffering's eyes. All they want is a change of scenery. The majority of the employees at this restaurant are female. There are only 3 people in the son's life. However, they are all fat men. But the youngest, however, Kwong's muscular physique makes him stand out once more. Tall. White teeth, a blonde mother is also present. Kwong is generally on par with AI. It has a buffalo-like appearance, whenever a need arises. Kwong is frequently asked by Mrs. Noyet. At moments like that, he is content. But not without pain. Because you're afraid to look her in the face, because you have a red face all the time. Similar to the neck of a chicken. She frequently cracks jokes with Kwong. What a cute and unafraid boy. I have no idea why lately. Mrs. Noyet frequently visits the eatery, to gaze upon the eatery. Her youthful partner. He doesn't seem to follow her every day, typically, daily. Only in the morning does Mrs. Noyet visit the restaurant. She will take her lover out to lunch at noon, after that, it's late at night. Or over the weekend. She resumes her yoga practice. She is unable to attend work. However, these days, Mrs. Noyet never leaves the restaurant. She occasionally sleeps here and never returns. Kwong is standing up and sitting. His hands are resting on his shoulders. Upsets you. Mrs. Noyet is there when Kwong returns. Directly behind your back, his face is flushed. Mrs. Noyet gives you a smile. Kwong enters the space. He assists the buffalo, his sister, in going downstairs. The tree will be brought by someone else later. However, that tree isn't working. Kwong goes to the room after Mrs. Noyet. It's not a large tree. But the new land and the buffalo inside weighs a lot. Kwong has both arms. However, it can only rise for so long, therefore, there is a place for the baby if he descends to the first floor. Mr. Vai's watch was soon lost. That buffalo was simply brought to the stairs by Kwong. For a long time, Mrs. Noyet observed it. She simply walked to the floor and made a call. What took you so long, Kwong? I'm hosting a visitor. I descended to summon the visitor's bus. Mrs. Noyet approached the staircase. Kwong was still holding himself together to continue. As she could see, his face is flushed. Mrs. Noyet said, grinning as she glanced at Kwong. Why are you so foolish, my God? Kwong nodded and grinned. Yes, since the buffalo weighs too much. You can't have me carry it. Leave it here, please. Let me switch on the fan for you. That tree, too. There will be additional delivery personnel later. I therefore requested that they bring it down for me. Kwong then went into the room after Mrs. Noyet. With great enthusiasm, Mrs. Noyette switched on the fan for Kwong. She then proceeded to the restroom. Taking a damp towel, she handed it to Kwong. "Hey, to be cool, you wash your face." Kwong lifted the damp towel in his hand. "Thank you, indeed." Kwong applied the damp towel to his face gradually, then he bared his body by removing his jacket. He was drenched in perspiration. In addition to the three-hole shirt that was adhered to his body, Kwong shut his eyes. Every wind on his body was felt by him. The fact that Mrs. Noyette's eyes were also sitting there, however, escaped his notice. He is a young man, to be sure, but he is also elderly. I haven't heard the news for a while. However, I can now see Mr. Tuan's face and his brown skin. He showed his cheek when he laughed. Mrs. Noyette did not blink as she gazed at Kwong. In front of Kwong's face, she appeared inebriated. Kwong sensed that someone was observing him. His eyes opened. His gaze inadvertently met Mrs. Noyette's. He shuddered at it. He then shut his eyes. What made Kwong so bashful? You did what to Kwong? Are you scared of him, or do you dislike him? Kwong doesn't fear anyone, however, he was made by a force. Kwong abruptly inquired about a man from Mrs. Noyette. Or accompany her, why? I haven't seen that young man accompany you lately. Mrs. Noyette was shocked to hear Kwong ask in that manner. Tongue, did you ask that? Have you struck him? I believed you were deeply in love with him. Mrs. Noyette felt a little taken aback. Naturally, Kwong was concerned about her personal life. However, I'm not sure why she felt so at ease. She is able to tell Kwong everything. Despite the fact that you are merely a car guard. He gambled with your money, it had something to do with the accident as well. Are you aware? Men are the thing I detest the most. They don't know anything. Your money might be real. It's a sweat, though. They are not allowed to use it, in a few sloppy things. You get it? Mrs. Noyette felt very perplexed. Kwong was apparently her next target. Kwong, however, was not scared. If it actually did occur. Due to Kwong's strong affection for her, he was afraid to speak, though. Because he was unsure whether it was love or something else. Due to Mrs. Noyette's beauty. Or simply due to her affection for Vin Hoa. Due to Mrs. Noyette's. Mrs. Noyette's eyes were full of secret plans. Kwong was afraid to inquire further. He simply knew how to stay clear of it. I'd like to go down to work. Yes, I will not give up my car if I lose it. When he was done talking, Kwong removed his coat. He quickly put it on and started working. Mrs. Noyette smiled as she sat there. She still had bruises on her mouth. Kwong had that genuine charm and was still quite young. It will undoubtedly occur. Kwong lowered himself to the ground. He then sat for the customers in the car. He sat there as usual. He considered what had just been said by Mrs. Noyette. And the unfathomable expression in his eyes. He grinned. However, he used himself once more a moment later. He felt both joy and fear. The fact that he could assist Mrs. Noyette made him happy. He could ease his longing by talking to her. Her unspoken words, however, also made him nervous. After a few days, Mrs. Noyette would visit and ask Kwong questions whenever she had them. After speaking with Mrs. Noyette numerous times, Kwong's fear gradually subsided. Kwong sat in the sweltering Saigon heat in the car. He saw a man who appeared to be quite familiar in April. He was entering a dining establishment. His attire wasn't particularly opulent. He was courteous, though. His eyes were filled with drowsiness, and his face was dark. The man entered without taking a seat at the table. He proceeded directly to the second floor. The restaurant employees were chatting loudly. Kwong paid close attention. He recalled after a few sentences that it was Mr. Tung, the most recent lover of Mrs. Noyette. Only 2 months had passed since his abandonment. However, he appeared to be a ghost. That's about it. Mrs. Noyette used to claim that he gambled with her money. He had a gambling addiction because he was so wealthy. Perhaps he became that way because of those things. At 2 o'clock, he approached Mrs. Noyette's room. What transpired between them is unknown to me. Mrs. Noyette rushed down the stairs into the room. Mr. Tung leaned back and wept. He was kicked into the wall's corner by Mrs. Noyette, then she yelled, "Come here, you two. For your sister's sake, get this guy out of here. You two, Kwong and Vin, take him out for your sister." Kwong rushed in after hearing the owner's loud call. Tung was then led out the door by the manager, Mr. Vin. Customers and employees began to yell, even so, Mr. Tung chose not to go. The security guard and several others eventually emerged to stop him. Then he simply walked away. However, he glanced back at Mrs. Noyette. There must have been a reason for him. That night, he didn't have to wait long. Kwong was inspecting the restaurant's doors. He was certain that he would fall asleep. He noticed a shadow standing across from him at that precise moment. He glanced at the eatery, but his attention was diverted. He believed he was merely a bystander. He then proceeded to his room on the second floor to sleep. An hour or so later, a black ball materialized at the restaurant's front door. He was attempting to enter the restaurant by breaking the lock. About half an hour passed. At last, he broke the lock as well. In order to sleep and lose weight, he went down to the restaurant's kitchen at midnight to get some water. He continued walking until he approached the kitchen, oblivious to the fact that the front door was locked, in the name of the lock he was holding. The street lamp flashed. He held an antique bottle of wine and held it in the restaurant's glass cabinet. When Kwong saw it, he was startled and yelled, "There is the lock." Kwong hurried to the side of the lock and spoke to him, but he continued to yell loudly so that the restaurant employees could hear. The crowd ran downstairs after Bon Noyette, and the staff remained there and heard the scream and the breaking sound. A staff member saw the lock's face when they turned on the light. Mr. Tung was the only one. He was conversing with Kwong when he abruptly grabbed something. It appeared to be the doctor's heart, and he threatened to let me go if he didn't, or else I would stab him. Get infected, and then give it to him. Fearful of injury, Bon Noyette stood there attempting to convince. What have you got to say? Slowly, Tung? You don't give me money, that's why. Are you aware that I am currently being beaten everywhere by the gangsters? You led me down the same path. I've previously told Tung that even though he can do anything and buy anything, he shouldn't bring money to gamble and get involved in activities that will ruin his life. I am unable to bring money to Tung or engage in such nefarious activities. What else is causing Tung pain? You just want my body, Indy. You never get how I feel. I don't talk to you very often anymore, and since you don't give me money, I have to sell this bottle. Now, will you let me go? I'm not sure I could keep it if it weren't for this guy's life. Despite being in Tung's control, I still have the courage to tell Bon Noyette. Don't worry about me, the mistress told the police. He is afraid to harm me in any way. He's a really strong guy. Do you believe I lack courage? Bon Noyette remained unfrightened as he stood there. Simply release him, those bottles don't have much value. Even if the mistress orders the police to leave, I won't be scared, so she doesn't need to worry about me. I instructed Bon Noyette to notify the police, but she chose not to do so out of concern for my safety. I have no regrets about those bottles. I spoke for a while before deciding to ignore the matter. It's me who is hurting, not Tung. Despite his diminutive size, Tung is incredibly intelligent and astute. In order to prevent me from taking the bottle with both hands, he purposefully dropped it. After that, Tung yelled at him, which made Tung uncomfortable. He quickly ran after grabbing the bottle, remembering to say, "Thank you for your success." Bon Noyette had to dash back at this point to assist Kwong in standing up. Then, at night, he immediately called an ambulance to take him. Kwong's life was unaffected by his wound, but using the restroom was quite challenging. Kwong therefore required rest as well. Every day since Kwong's injury, Bon Noyette has visited the room to tend to him. Bon Noyette purchased enough supplements for Kwong, primarily to aid in his speedy recuperation. Kwong has a number of siblings. The only person with 3 sisters is me. Oh, Kwong must be really upset if she is acting that way. It's terrible, but I'm not sure what Tung is learning. Kwang's face flushed when he heard what I said. I'll look after you, come on. I also have a duty to do so as a restaurant employee. I cover your costs, even if you don't show up for work, your salary is still insufficient. Kwang initially assumed that because he was wealthy, he must be extremely challenging, but he was surprised by her generosity. Despite seeing Ban Noyet more frequently, Kwang made an effort to keep his feelings to himself because he was aware that Ban Noyet had never truly loved anyone. All the men wanted to do was take her money. Ban Noyet chose not to leave even though she was aware of those men's intentions. She must also be holding back from saying something. Following 2 days of evasion, Mr. Tung was taken into custody by the authorities. He was arrested for numerous charges of embezzlement, property seizure, and fraud while he and his friends were in a deserted area, gathered around a bar. That's the cost of not being able to make an early payment. He would still be Ban Noyet's devoted lover if he hadn't run into that issue. He might even be able to enjoy that money. Before Kwang was let go from his new job, Ban Noyet gave him a vacation in the restaurant. Despite taking a vacation, Ban Noyet failed to deduct his pay. For his gallantry, he even got paid more. Ban Noyet, on the other hand, also gradually developed feelings for this young man. He was very kind and honest. She has consistently pursued older men up until this point. Excited, but surprisingly, she has fallen in love with a younger boy. She showed Kwang genuine affection at the age of 20. However, she may have closed her heart during the past 15 days. Have you ever loved anyone? Ban Noyet asked in a quiet whisper as she sat next to Kwang's bed. What do you know about love in a developing nation? My parents gave me permission to drop out of school in the 9th grade so that I could work with my father. However, I was brought here, fed, and sent to school by my neighbor, Noyet. 2 million people return to their hometowns each month. Sincerely, I have been in Hanoi for over 2 years, but I am unable to leave the city. Noyet sent me to school in the evening even though I had promised to go. I was surprised to learn that my neighbor, who was extremely wealthy, was operating an illicit business. She provided employment and care for young boys like me, serving wealthy women, working husbands, or needy women is the job. Since it's so simple to get out, I don't think I'm lucky. I initially liked Noyet and Tao, but perhaps I didn't interact with anyone from childhood to adulthood. Thus, it was merely an obsessional feeling. I'm not sure why. Kwang told Noyet about her upbringing in life. He became depressed when I said that. I'm not sure why, but I find older women attractive in my restaurant, even though many of the staff are my age. It's quite peculiar. As I had assumed, youth is not yet at its prime. It is easy to get lost around a lot of strangers. I frequently adore Noyet and Tao as well. They bring men out to talk to those who need them first because they are lonely women who are preoccupied with women's psychology. They are wealthy enough to do anything, but they are unsure of the proper path. I'd like to be wealthy. Is it worthwhile? It's really dull. I frequently see contented and longing sisters here. My parents work in agriculture in the country, and the garden requires a lot of labor at the same age as the sisters. Despite our hard work, my spouse and I only have enough food. Losing the harvest season, which is a major task, is not fortunate. People are not good, the poor work all their lives, and the rich are not busy being rich. For everyone, it is the beginning. Sitting next to me is Mrs. Noyet, who is also interested. No matter how hard I try, I am just a hired man, no more, no less, even though I am only a guard in the car. Mrs. Noyet observes my sorrowful eyes from afar, but she is unable to communicate her emotions. Do you want me to do the laundry for you? She asked. You must have a solid foundation for everything you do. How do you think I am, given that I mentioned having feelings for the elderly? I felt at ease answering Noyet's question as I stood in front of it. You don't have to think about it. I was also happy and kind. I was wealthy, gorgeous, and so very beautiful that I cherished it. So I fell in love with you. I was taken aback by Noyet's unexpected question, but I was at a loss for words. You said that, but why? I also don't know. However, it appears that I feel something for Noyet. I assumed that Noyet was kidding when he said that. You must be kidding me, she said with a smile. What makes someone like you appealing to me? That's not what I said. I was unaware of how I really felt, but I thought about her. You don't have to respond right away. I assumed you were leaving, indeed. That night, following Noyet's unexpected admission, I couldn't stop thinking about how I used to dream that Noyet would notice me. She now confesses her love for me in addition to liking me. Why, then, do I still hesitate to confess my feelings for Noyet? I could be jealous, perhaps. It's difficult to describe. After a week off, things were improving. I chose to work like everyone else because I had been bored for a while. I walked out of there. It has nearly been a year. It was a year before I returned home. I didn't give home a call. Living in a poor nation is difficult. Your parents can't call you because they don't have a phone. As good as your pay is your phone. You continue to mail your parents half of your monthly salary, you keep the remainder for your wedding the following day. You cannot remain this way indefinitely, regardless of what you say. You have just one son, he's treating you like this now. I'm not sure if you can still run. I'm not sure if you can still run, you own this vehicle. I met his wife through AI. Tom is her name, she is very kind, despite her advanced age. I got this fancy car from her. We've spent our entire lives in the car, defending one another. And we've been successful. You know now, don't you? Speak with AI. Avoid eating and visit the house across the street, Fong passed. Kwong grinned. Kwong gave the man a look. You detest the harsh words he used. However, you are unsure of what to do. In the car, he is merely a guard. What authority do you have to communicate with AI? You're unsure of what to do. Then Noyet arrived. I have been paying attention to you, Noyet has seen all of it. Noyet arrived to assert his dominance. Kwong, this restaurant is packed with patrons, a boss like you got into the car, but why? The guard is where? Noyet looked at Kwong after saying that. He smiled and relaxed after realizing Noyet's good intentions. Noyet was only permitted to come to your eatery, you have such honor. You are welcome to come here since you have been defending your reputation. This eatery is well known, you must go there frequently. Only affluent people should be invited to a fine dining establishment. There's still work to be done, Kwong, it doesn't matter what wears him out. Without you, it's dull. Even going to pick up your husband can be enjoyable, Noyet looked at Kwong after saying that. He congratulated your restaurant with a smile. Things are improving, I really appreciate you inviting me. Noyet was thanked by Kwong. Kwong and Noyet relished the meal after Noyet told Kwong that. Noyet was upset when he left. Desperate, he took Noyet's hand and drove out of the restaurant. Kwong understood what he needed to do after that incident. He needed to get wealthy, and Noyet was the only person who could assist him. He would have been bullied today if she hadn't assisted him. However, the truth is what it is, there are a lot of people eating here. Even if they tell you that you are not profitable, you will accept it when they look at you with admiration. All you have to do to avoid being bullied by others is to know what lies ahead, you chose for yourself. You knocked on Noyet's door that evening. The way Kwong looked didn't surprise her, you entered the space. On the table was a bottle of wine. Noyet gently asked you to sit down while holding 2 glasses, Kwong took a sip. But you have no idea where to get a glass of wine. Just give it a shot. It tastes good. This wine differs from the sticky wine found in rural areas. Noyet handed Kwong the wine after taking it out. Noyet took a tiny sip from the same glass. Kwong trailed after her. Since he had never previously consumed this wine, he drank very little. But he had a red face. Noyet grinned. Kwong was adorable. I apologize. Since this wine is new to you, this is how Kwong came to see you. He must have known the answer. Isn't that true? Kwong, however, was unsure of what else to do. Kwong was visited by Noyet. And he placed it in my hand when I placed it over his neck. I have nothing more to say. Mrs. Noyet seized the chance to switch off the light without further delay. It was a fateful night. Kwong most likely would never forget that moment. The house looked like a painting on a white bed when the power went out. Kwong retained that skill. Kwong was overjoyed, and it was Mrs. Noyet who brought the 18-year-old boy into his life. It was that way. Kwong tasted Mrs. Noyet's aroma for the first time. His thirst, which had been absent for a while, was relieved. Mrs. Noyet was, too. She has experienced every flavor of men up to this point. Some are young, while others are middle-aged. She feels different, though, only with Kwong. He was initially a little bashful, just like in the spring. Nevertheless, he grew stronger over time. Similar to a ravenous tiger that hasn't had any food in a while. It was Kwong who forgave Mrs. Noyet until they were both sweating and exhausted. I had no idea Kwong would be so amazing. Fortunately, Tung wasn't very powerful. I would live my entire life regretting it if I didn't. I persisted in bothering him about it. I thought it was Hong because I was so anxious. How could Hong see what he was saying? However, I would eventually find someone better than you, isn't that correct? Kwong said that, but why? I'm not sure anymore. Simply put, I'm sensitive. I don't want anyone to speak before me. Who knows? What if the last person beside you is Kwong? You can do anything you want, though, right? I don't lack money, of course. Kwong must, however, be good above all else. What happens if you talk to Kwong in the afternoon? In the morning, you must pick it up for Kwong. How do you respond to other things? Or do you two speak a bit more? You re-engage with each other once you regain your strength. Until you are so exhausted that you are unable to continue. Noyet Na slept until morning after that. Since that night, Kwong's life has taken a new turn. Some of the patrons who dined there praised him for being a homeless man and a poor guard in a car. Kwong has become a rich man. However, the reality differs from the previous state of Noyet Na's youthful romance. Kwong decided to concentrate on his work, building the restaurant day by day, rather than relaxing in a comfortable spot and enjoying himself with Noyet Na. He purchased a swallow in Phu though. The swallow was introduced as a posh specialty dish to Hanoi. As a result, the restaurant did not open as planned. Noyet Na agreed, but gave Kwong back the restaurant. In addition, Kwong was the first man whose number of lovers differed from that of the restaurant's employees. However, as Noyet Na stated, where does AI learn what first? Until one day, I'll know. Noyet Na gave Kwong everything she owned today when she got bored. Then, contemplating those dangers, Kwong set out like a nomad. Kwong is now living a happy life with lovers and is filled with prayers. Kwong is no longer terrified of life's hatred at this point. It's true that you move forward as soon as you have money. That's it, then. Kwong's journey marks the conclusion of Chiu Long Kak Kui Ba Tuoi Hoi Xian's story. We have witnessed the characters' feelings, enigmatic secrets, and even their heartless choices. Kwong, a country boy, has been exposed to the busy city, where he encounters both challenges and pleasures. Living near influential women during the Hoi Xian era taught Kwong valuable lessons about life and love in addition to bringing him prosperity. As the story comes to a close, we are left with a deep appreciation for the importance of freedom, loyalty, and genuine love. Our people and our future will be shaped by our experiences and decisions, despite the fact that life is complex and full of changes. This concludes our story, ladies and gentlemen. Remember to inform us by leaving a comment. Goodbye. See you in the upcoming episode.